Hello, welcome to Agric Economy on ARSN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. On today's episode of the program, we shall be taking a look at the impact of inflation and interest rates on agricultural productivity in Nigeria. And to discuss this with us in the studio is our economist, Mr. Gabriel Dakola. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
I know that some of our followers will be looking like we've had this topic, previously on the program, but then if you look at it, it's a broad one, and of course, just 30 minutes will not be enough to clear the air and in-depthly discuss about these topics. Now, first to say what's inflation?
Inflation is the continuous rising of interest rates and other indices of the economy against the production level of such prices. And what inflation does is that it affects the productivity of the economy to an extent that it lowers the purchasing power of the consumers. So inflation most of the time is a projection of how economy is working out. If the economy is liquid and is strong and the GDP is very resilient, the inflation rate will be lower. But if the economy is struggling or there are some macroeconomic policies that are not being properly implemented, it tends to jack up inflation. Inflation also has to do with the performance of the currency of a nation against other currencies, especially exchange rate fluctuations. So the weaker the currency of a country is, the more likelihood that inflation rate will rise in that kind of a country. So these are some of the factors that project inflation.
Okay, when we talk interest rates, people would naturally be drawn to loan collection and the rest of it. Yes. Of what effect is this also to?
Yes, the Central Bank of Nigeria, through the Monetary Policy Committee that meets depending on the theme of the CBN. Sometimes the past administration of the CBN used to meet monthly, but it's just mandatory that they must meet within the year. It could be 4 times, it could be more, depending on the exigencies of the time. When they meet, they are the one that decides the interest rate that the economy wants to run with. And once the interest rate is pronounced by the Monetary Policy Committee, what it does is that it advises commercial banks on the going base interest rate they are supposed to use for their operations. And the commercial banks and other deposit money banks and other financial institutions now use the base interest rate as advised by the CBN MPC to fashion out their own interest rate that applies to their customers, both for taking of investment and also for giving out of loan facilities. And the interest rate most of the times helps to curb inflation if properly implemented with other macroeconomic factors. So, but presently we discovered that continuous interest rate in Nigeria over the past years has not really curbed inflation, because other aspects of the economy like insecurity, productivity, continuous devaluation of the naira, exchange rate fluctuations, scarcity of foreign currency, especially the United States dollars, have continuously affected inflation and has made inflation rate to rise. But what happens is that the interest rate, as determined by the Central Bank of Nigeria through the MPC, ensures that it gives a baseline of what transactions are supposed to be done based on the interest rate for other commercial banks and deposit money banks and financial institutions.
Okay, with this effect, when it comes to, we'll also be touching back on inflation, but let's look at the interest rate first. We know that commercial banks are there to, of course, earn their own profits as well. And then, so what do we do at this end where, the effects is not so much on farmers?
That is why that's the challenge we have with farmers sourcing loans from commercial banks. It has double effects, twin effects. It does not matter whether the farmers source loans from the banks or not. They will still have to buy implement inputs for their farms. So those people that are sourcing for loans from the banks at a very high interest rate based on the interest rate advice will also have to supply those products at a higher margin even when the farmers are buying from them. And when the cost of inputs by the farmers is high, whether they are taking a loan directly or they are buying inputs that others have taken loan to procure, definitely is going to increase their cost of production and in the long run increase the price of their output.
I know sometimes back there's been call as regards having a market for these improved seeds and in a bit of a cheaper rate, looking at having to hand these improved seedlings to associations and the rest of them, so that you're sure that if you're selling it, for example, 5 naira, and then you are giving it to the people that actually do need them for that same rate of 5 naira, rather than go to the market and buy for 15 naira. These, would reduce the cost of production,
Definitely.
and then we're going to, of course, have the interest rate is not so almost not going to be there. Aside these facts, what other means do you think that the government can go about in the reduction of these interest rates?
One other factor that we have been discussing, which I believe the government also has decided to implement, hopefully properly this year, is availing loan facilities to the farmers through the banks. When it is the government that is giving these loan facilities with the instrumentality of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Agricultural Bank, using the commercial banks as the major disbursers, it comes with single-digit interest rates. And when those farmers are able to access these loans on a single-digit interest rate, it's going to help them to be able to ensure that it reduces their cost of production. Another area that the government needs to intervene, just like we said, is to channel improved seedlings and agricultural inputs like fertilizers and other irrigation materials directly to the farmers, not through intermediaries and third parties. We have seen over time that channeling these products through intermediaries most of the times fail to get to the targeted farmers, or even when it gets there, it gets to them at a very high cost because other factors are put into it to make it difficult for them to get it at the intended cost that the government is sending it to them. So that is why the idea of ensuring that cooperatives that are duly registered with farmers are directly linked to getting these government subsidies in improved seedlings, fertilizers and other farming implements and tools is very imperative, because most of the time we discover that even when state government take these initiatives and they pass through the local government, most of the time it is politicized and it does not get directly to the needed farmers. That is when we see people becoming emergency farmers, getting these implements, even the fertilizers and the rest, and reselling it in the market at a higher price. So government needs to look at ensuring that farmers can access single-digit loans to reduce their cost of production, subsidize the effect of cost of production of farmers through improved seedlings that are at a minimal cost to the farmers, and as well as fertilizers and other inputs that will help the farmers to be able to produce at a lower cost to churn out for the people.
Okay, there's been a call for a separate market for, farm, everything that farmer needs to farm. Separate market in the sense that it doesn't have to be separate market as well, taking farm tools or seedlings or the rest of it out of, for example, the Wuse market. But
Okay.
having a session where we know that when you go to this market, as you go here, you know that you are buying for that price, which because most times you see these farmers carrying bags of fertilizer. Some of them you see not for sale,
Yeah.
and then you end up seeing that
They paid for it.
the farmer has to pay in some, some of them may not they'll say, okay, because I didn't have the information. So it's I don't know, I'm saying that there is need for an intermediary between the research institutes
Yeah.
and the farmers, in the sense that yes, we have research council and their institutes all over Nigeria, but then when these products and produce are being advanced and being churned out, which market do we find them?
The thing again is that advocacy
Yes,
for separate markets in a market for agricultural products is not far-fetched. There are some places all over the country that we have a semblance of this. But it will be good enough if it is properly marked, properly highlighted, that every farmer in every state and local government knows the kind of markets to go to that will be able to meet his needs of agricultural inputs. Another aspect that we also have to look at when it comes to the issue of third parties selling these agricultural products that are not for sale is the lacking of monitoring. We discovered that over time, even the research institute do not monitor how these products are disseminated to the farmers, how these products get to the end users, which are the farmers. And in the process, in the middle of that process, most of these seedlings are diverted and it gets to third parties that will have to make a premium out of it to sell to the farmers. So just like we have in Lagos and some other places, spare part markets, that when you get there, you don't even need to, you want to tell them you want it, you say go to this market. That's the kind of thing we should have for farm produce and farm implements as well. That okay, in Oyo State, for example, this market is dedicated to selling of farm tools, farm implements, and they are popular for it. We can do that in almost all the states. And we make it popular by ensuring that the Ministry of Agric with other agencies, associated agencies, collaborate with the market as well to ensure that informations are disseminated as and when due and monitoring is enforced. One major reason why information is key is that when there is adequate information, it will kill this third party overzealousness of carrying things that government have decided to share and distribute to farmers directly and reselling it. What it does is that even when some people act as farmers and they go and get this input and want to sell it in this designated markets or other markets, they will meet a stumbling block because the market itself is aware that these products, whether it's fertilizers or other farm implements, are not for sale. So when you bring such, in fact, in some extent, they even encourage them to call law enforcement agencies to apprehend such people. And if these things can be done, it will help the farmers to be able to get these products as intended by the government and to be able to improve their performance.
Okay, quickly, you've heard it. We'll take a quick break. When we return, Agric economy continues. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's the Agric Economy on ARCN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. We've been talking about the effect of inflation and interest rates on agricultural productivity in Nigeria. We've spoken, our guest has spoken extensively on interest rates and its effect, and now we shall be looking at inflation. when we talk inflation, everybody feel it's of course market price and so how does this relate to agricultural productivity?
Yes, when there is a high rate of inflation, it makes the cost of inputs to go up, and it directly affects the farmers in the production cost, and it also affects the price of the output of the farmers. What that does is that when the output, the price is high, it could lead to reduction in purchase for the farmers. So at the end of the day, the farmer might not be able to be as profitable as envisaged on the long run. And it will also make the people to have reduced purchasing power. Because, for example, I give you an example. For somebody that is earning 50,000 naira 10 years ago, that fellow can comfortably and affordably buy about 2 or 3 bags of rice at once with that money. But that fellow now in 2024, that 50,000 will not be able to buy 1 bag. So it reduces the purchasing power of the consumers. And when the purchasing power of the consumers reduces, the farmers will not be able to sell as has been anticipated or projected, and it will lead to reduced profit for the farmers.
Okay, aside this, what does it in the long run portend for the Nigerian economy?
Now, the truth is that if continuous inflation happens, it leads to food inflation. And when there is food inflation, it leads to increased hunger in the land, and it can lead to dissent. And when there is dissent, it can lead to other unimaginable consequences. And the quality of life of the people also reduces as regards of that. So it has an overall negative effect on food production if inflation continues to increase and there is rise in food inflation. And you discover that over the past 12 months to 2 years now, food inflation has steadily been rising, and it has been affecting the purchasing power of the people, and the feeding pattern of the people have also been drastically affected. About 10-15 years ago, we can see families that comfortably afford what they call 3 square meals. But in this present day, there are so many permutations and combinations as maybe 010 or 001 or 000 in some cases. That means when it's 010, it means no food in the morning, food in the afternoon, then no food in the night. So when you say 001, it means no food in the morning, afternoon, but there is food in the night. But when it gets to the level of 000, it means there is no hope at all for food for that day. So it's getting to that level because of continuous inflation and continuous food inflation that is really affecting the masses, especially the low-income earners.
So what are the factors, in mitigating the effect of this inflation?
The truth of the matter is that government has to come up with policies to mitigate the effect of inflation, and those policies must be targeted that is effective. It is the effectiveness of government policies that will determine how inflation will slow, or whether it's going to be what we call hyperinflation, or it's going to be galloping, or it's going to be moderate or walking inflation. Nigeria has not gotten to that level yet, but we pray that we will not get to the level of hyperinflation or galloping inflation, because that is crazy for a country like Nigeria with our population. So government needs to intervene to mitigate the effect of inflation by ensuring that the policies of government are effectively monitored, effectively implemented in areas to check the root cause of inflation. Government now decides to say, oh, we are giving out funds for people, for farmers to be able to access, to be able to increase their capacity. Government must ensure that these funds get to the right farmers. They must ensure that it is properly monitored. Government says, oh, we are going to make land available for the people to use. The lands must be properly situated. Co-farming and farm sharing facilities should be provided, and the youth should be adequately mobilized and encouraged to and incentivized to be able to use those farming communities and farmland to be able to project. The overall policy that can stem food inflation is that when there is enough production at a lower cost. And that should be the overall aim of the country, using agricultural policies to ensure that we have food sufficiency enough for the people that even are producing to sell at a lower rate and also be profitable. You know, when you are producing something in mass, for example, if your farm, due to technology, yields 200% against anticipated 100%, you can decide to reduce the margin of profit because you have earned additional 100%. If the value of your grains, for example, that you want to sell when you are yielding 100% with the same input is like 20 naira. When you yield 200%, you can decide to reduce the price because you have a higher profit margin. So this is what the government should anticipate by ensuring that people are encouraged to go into farming. Government ensures that every promises it has made in the area of capacity building, facilities for farmers, all other things that will help the farming community to improve is provided at, and it's also adequately monitored, even from the farmland to the marketplace.
Okay, is there anything that can be done to, on the part of farmers now,
Yes.
the other stakeholders aside government, in reduction of this inflation and interest rates?
Now, the farmers also have a role to play. There's a Nigerian mentality that when you are in any business, you should maximize profit. Even in business, there is what is called patriotism. So the farmers should be patriotic enough to know that what they are doing, even as they are trying to be a businessman, is national service. And whatever it is that is being produced, the farmers should enjoy that it is high grade, it is unadulterated, it is properly done, and it gets to the market intact, and the price is reasonable to be able to allow the consumers to be able to purchase them. The farmers also should communicate more with government agencies, research institutes, to ensure that new technologies are embraced at every point in time. The farmers also should ensure that they liaise with other countries, counterparts in other countries, and strengthen their own association so that they can improve on their farm practices and ensure that modern farm implements are being sourced, whether in a cooperative manner or individual manner, so that it will make farm work easier. One thing that I want us to know is that modern farming implements in itself is not what is going to reduce the workers in the farm. It is when they are properly trained that will help them to use those modern farm implements to increase productivity. So the farmers on their own should also encourage the government to intervene in the agricultural sector by being proactive, by ensuring that they know what they are doing at every point in time. And they should not be laid back to believe that government must do everything for them. There is no economy in the world, and when talking about agriculture, that government does everything, because it has to be a shared responsibility.
Okay, yes, like you just mentioned, there are some nations where you see that agriculture is basically a private
Yes.
enterprise, a private business. All you just do is that we've given you these policies in place, the enabling environment is there, and then go and
do your business.
So we hope that one day Nigeria will grow to that extent. Thank you for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir, you've heard it. So many factors is mentioned. I hope the farmers have learned from this episode. That's how we wrap it up on Agric Economy for today. Join us again, same time, same station next week. Don't forget to follow our social media handles and like our YouTube page and follow for more exciting and educating program. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. I'm saying bye for now.